Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikhail. I was just giving a story that I will not repeat on air. But yeah, like I said before the break, we were raised different. And I think it's the one thing, and you say that Jib said that he'd do some things different. I think I've said that over and over, that there are things I would do different. And because I was a loud child, I was very, I was all over the place. I was noisy, and I'd be playing at the times that I shouldn't be playing, and I'll be caught in all kinds of situations.
Yes.
But I think, I don't know, I don't think there was any other way to see it at that point.
But look at what the voice and where it got you.
Yes. Now it makes sense.
Yes.
So even when I meet teachers who I was like noisemaker times 10 because times 2 wasn't enough. So when I look back now and we meet with the teachers, I'll be like, see, because they would tell me to keep quiet in class.
Yes.
But then when it's time for drama, they want your voice.
Yes.
Mikali, we need you to lead.
Let's confuse the child completely. Let's teach the child that there are only sections in their lives they can shine, possibly. And the minute the bell rings, you switch that shine off and you go stand in a line and you behave yourself.
Yes.
And not that there's something wrong with the school system, but how we are teaching and raising our children. If you stand in line in life and wait for an opportunity, what's the likelihood you're going to succeed? Because in school, we're taught to stand in this perfect line and wait to be able to get something or go somewhere or achieve something.
Not much.
But yes, and if you sit around, you know, in life waiting with your hands up, hoping an opportunity will hit you, waiting for it while you're silent, we're not teaching and educating our children together as parents that yes, what you're going through in school right now is very important, and education is everything. It's your license to the world. But so will your values, your principles, your behavior, your confusion, your loss, your mistakes, your failure, your rejection, everything that comes with life. We need to be teaching you as children, not just teaching you that when you don't get the A's, you have the parents wondering what is wrong with my child. It is not just about the child getting the A's, because sometimes how successful are we as parents in our lives? Or are we over successful as parents that children must also follow this way?
Yeah.
And so at what point have we lost possibly the cream that could have risen in the child that was so different from this one vision parents have for the child? I love something Tony says. He says, Tony Robbins says that he spent his whole life in school talking, and he's spent his whole life in school with his teachers telling him, keep quiet, stop making noise.
Yes.
And he says that now when he meets some of his teachers, he turns around to them and says, I mean, how's the talking doing for me now?
And that's exactly me.
Exactly.
That
But
is so
it
true.
takes a special someone, and it should be the parents, to be able to say, you are perfect the way you are, and life will teach you to wear many masks. So as a parent, let me not already put them on top of you to confuse you. Let me as a parent allow you to be the way you are. What if we did that? I give you a very different example. So my son, for about a good 3 to 4 years, you know, was like, I want to go to Harvard. I want to study, I want to do something great, Mom, and it's going to be Harvard or Oxford. And obviously as parents, we're like, yes, yes.
That's my son.
That's my son. That's great. You know, I'm following Harvard on Instagram and, like, you know, doing my visualization. I could see my son there on graduation, and, you know, my ego's standing there saying, yes, I did it. It has nothing to do with my son and how hard he possibly worked. It would be all about me.
Yeah.
And a year ago, he turned around and said, I don't even think I'm going to make it to university, because I think I've decided to go down a different career path, and it will require me to not need a formal education, but to need an education to specialize in what I want to do.
Okay.
And I remember this lump in my throat, because my dreams were being taken away. They were not his dreams. He's now following his dreams.
Yes.
And when I said, are you sure about this? Because, you know, at some point, even if you have to drop out of school, you know, in year 13, we're kind of not going through year 13 and university. Should that be a kind of backup? But he couldn't have that as a backup with the career he wanted to do. And he was like, Mom, you have taught me in life that if you have a plan B, you will never succeed at plan A. And so I have my son now telling me everything I've taught him about vision and goal and dreams and how to achieve it.
And there's no way to get out of that.
Exactly.
There's no way.
And he was like, Mom, you have to be able to trust me. This is the path I want to go through right
Yes.
now. And so it took everything in us as parents to be like, okay, do it. What will it take for us as parents to step out of our own way to give you room to figure this out? And sometimes as parents, we just don't do that.
I think it's important that you bring that up because as I'm being told to keep quiet and talk at different times, when I finished school and I was choosing now, I want to get into university and do this and this and that, my dad was very strict with, Mom, we have tried. So he's an accountant by profession. He'd tried the math thing a lot, complete with tutors. He did push it. It didn't work out. It just wasn't. So when I was filling up things, of course, I'd have math at the back of my mind because, you know, Dad. But then he was like, don't do that. It has math in it. You won't, you just can't. We tried. And it's just like, try law. And he was really like, you want to get into acting, get into that. Drama, get into that. Broadcast, he had the broadcast vision for me before I could see it.
Wow.
Because he understood. I think when you get to that point as a parent where you're like, okay, fine. I tried my way. It didn't work. Let me just give in to what it is that she would really, really, you know, excel at.
Yes.
And most of the times when you push your dreams on them, because I would have probably gotten a tried pharmacist.
Yeah,
And
no,
nursing.
you would have probably just talked in the pharmacy. You'd have had a TV station watching you do pharmacy.
Exactly. So that wouldn't have worked out for me.
Yeah.
I probably would have walked that journey and then gone back to school later on to study something totally different. So even you taking time to be like, you know what, it's okay, I understand. I will swallow the huge lump
Yes.
in my throat
Yes.
and be like, just move on with your career.
Yes.
And I will support you. And it's not many parents that do that.
And it's because this is why it's a paradigm shift from typical traditional parenting, which we feel has worked for so long, versus conscious parenting, which requires you as a parent to be so present first in who you are as a parent, so present with what's going on inside of you and healing your own inner child, and forgiving yourself for so much before you even turn out and start to, you know, educate and teach this little child. And so that's why conscious parenting is so new, and it's controversial with so many parents, because the easy way is, let me discipline you, because in my mind I can sort of see where life will take you. Where conscious parenting is allowing the child to sort of have this dance in life, this freedom to fall, to stand, to know my parents are always behind me no matter what. You can mess up in life, you can go down a path, but it is not allowing the child to be lost. It is allowing the child to see that the values you want to instill in me, you practice. You hold them. You are your values. And so they're attractive to me as a child to want to take on. Your principles are beautiful. I see the dynamic with you and Dad, so I know how I want to grow up and be in a relationship. I heard Simon Bailey say something so beautiful. He was talking about the fact that, you know, he's super successful as a speaker and travels and talks. And he says one day, you know, he was rushing to pack, and his daughter came into the room and was like, you know, Dad, how are you? And he's like, good, 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 and just didn't give her the attention. And she was like, Dad, you're busy, so I'll come back later. And he says he was sitting on the plane, and it hit him, and he realized, oh my God, like I had a moment where I could have just given my daughter all my attention. But, you know, instead of just hearing my daughter around, I need to stop, pause, and be able to listen to who and what she's saying. And he says that, you know, eventually, obviously, that led him to have a divorce, because his wife would turn around and say, you're giving so much of who you are to everyone else that I don't want the rest of you. I also want the best of you. And so he says, I realized at some point as a parent that I had this beautiful house, but I didn't have a home. I had all this wealth, but I had no significance. You know, he's like, I stood as a man that, you know, prided myself in what I spoke for. But when I looked at who I was as a man, Did I want to encourage my daughter to look for, date, and marry a man that wasn't present and did not give her attention? So we underestimate our roles as parents in every area. Okay. It's not just bringing up the child now. It's the dynamic of your family. It's the conscious family. It's the environment you're creating at home for the child to not want to leave, to not want to escape, because home is toxic. Home is not home. Home is, there's fighting, there's no room for me. So I might find it in the wrong peer group, because it's the wrong peer group, but somehow they make me belong. And that's why it's parents taking a breath and giving children time to speak at dinner, to ask, to question your children about the day, about their friends, about what's going on, is to really move into this friend zone where I can hear you, I can listen to you, and I'll not always rush to advise you, because the teenage brain, you know, the frontal lobe is not developed till 24. It is just living in utter rebellion. So they just know better. So sometimes it's to be able to say, I'd love to be able to just give you my opinion. Would it be okay? And for the child to feel, I feel like a bit of an adult in this moment. Yes, you may tell me your opinion. And you know, and it's a beautiful dynamic when it becomes a conscious family to raise a child.
Okay. We have a few questions for you.
Good.
Okay. Well, first not question. Hi, Switch. I love Shazmin, but wait, is that her hair? OMG. Is it your hair?
Yeah, it's right here on the side of me.
Mikali, my child has been playing too much, in which I don't like. I tried to beat her hard, but she can't change. She's 4 years old. What should I do?
So I hope you heard the part where I talked about at 4 years old, children are in the prime of their genius.
Yes.
But when you are hitting your child so that they don't play, what are children born to do? You learn through playing. We are teaching adults now to play. We are teaching adults stop being so stringent with who you are.
Bring out the child in you.
Yes, find different archetypes of personalities inside of you, you know, that is fun. So I would say it's not the child that needs to be disciplined. Where is it that you feel as a parent there was a lack or is a lack of discipline inside of you that you feel you need to impose on top of your child so you can see discipline? Because sometimes it's all within. And I would say that, you know, leave your children to play. Let your children learn science through play. You know, your children learn to juggle eggs, and your fear is put them down, they'll break. But you know what? When they do, because the child is playing, you bend down with the child and you say, that could have been a baby. There's a moment to teach through play every single time, but there's a lack of patience in parents to teach.
Okay. Hi, Mukali and Shaz. Kindly help me. How am I supposed to raise my daughters? I'm really going through a lot of frustration from my husband, and most of the time I'm sad, and I see it's really affecting my little poor daughter. I always get the stress out of her, I think, on her, and I find her losing weight, and she's always just down. What am I supposed to do?
Talk to your children. Show your children that as this parent who I have caused you to look up at as perfection, I'm also not perfection. I also experience life. I'm also going through pain, and I'm going through confusion in my life sometimes. But you know, when the dynamic is tough between husband and wife, I encourage them, don't leave your children wondering about that dynamic, because they're seeing it, they're feeling it. They are crying in their beds thinking, how do I fix it? So talk to your children that first of all, it is not for you to fix. And then secondly, whatever is going on in this dynamic, at some point as adults, we have to take it away from the children, because you are going to raise children. You will raise a daughter to eventually somehow feel she has to be the wife to the husband, or you raise the son to at some point in life feel I need to be the husband to the wife. Because dad is not present, I will do everything dad didn't do. And because mom seems like she's not present, or you didn't get what you wanted from mom, so I will be the daughter to emulate that for you. So it's separate. It is so important to separate. Don't hide. If that is what's going on in the family, talk to your children and tell them it is not your fault, you're not to blame, mom and dad are human. We're having a bit of a blip right now, but we're working on it. And sometimes tell your children, you're so clever. If you have any insight or dynamic on how we could be better, bring it on for a full family, you know, conscious awakening.
Okay. I'd like my son to have a very high self-esteem, but it breaks my heart when he goes out to play and he comes and tells me that the other children don't like him. I ask why he says that. He says he doesn't know, or they said he sat on them and he didn't. It doesn't help that he plays with girls because there aren't boys his age around. At school, there are more girls than boys too. He's 4.5. How do I help him? This is Alice.
Beautiful question, Alice. I would say it's just to allow him to see sometimes maybe people think you're different because you're great. Maybe life is already showing you you're born to stand out in such a beautiful way. But it's to allow the 4-year-old to not feel that this dynamic happening here in the moment is going to be how you will grow up or will be who your personality will turn out. It's sitting to explain to the child that maybe girls are a bit different and they play a little different from the way you do play. But you know what? It's seeing your child for the way that they are, but taking the fear away from raising them. They are 4. They should just have the freedom of imagination, because even at 4, they live in, you know, a gamma state where their brain waves are still adaptable to the subconscious. They are not like processing information they see yet. They are just seeing the whole world as it is in such a beautiful way, and they live in imagination. So allow your child to just be in their imagination. When he comes and says, you know, nobody likes me or nobody's playing with me, ask him, is it true? Is it true that nobody likes you, and what makes you think that way? And have a discussion to start teaching your children from a young age to have reasonable conversations with themselves.
Okay. There's an interesting one here. Good morning, Mikali. Mine is a question. Which is the best way to explain to a 5-year-old child why she sleeps in her own room, but you and the dad share a room? Hii kitu imenisumbua sana, cause kila wakati anasema babake ni mkubwa na yeye ndio mdogo, so anafaa alale na mama yake.
That is so cute. I love that. I would find the most playful. Okay, before I even answer that.
Yes.
Okay, I'd answer it this way.
Okay.
As a parent, we are normally stuck in one mode, which is parenting mode. Okay, and I feel that mode when you have children can be so boring. So what if you find the alternate personality inside of you? It could be anywhere in your body. So you close your eyes and you look deep within, and something I do with clients, but I just do it so quick. And I'd say, close your eyes and look deep within you and see where is this beautiful, giggly inner child inside of your body. And some people might turn around and say, it's in my belly. And I'd be like, is this little child laughing? And they'd be like, it's full of laughter. And I'd say, give this inner child a beautiful name. And they'd be like, this inner child is called sunshine. And I'd be like, okay, what does this inner child have about them? And they're like, that it laughs and it just plays and it's so happy. And I'm like, great. Now you have another personality to jump to when you're with your child.
Okay.
So when your child is going through this, what would Sunshine say? Not what would Mommy say, but what does Sunshine say? How does Sunshine address this little girl? How can Sunshine come down to a 5-year-old's level and make her see life in a beautiful, playful way? And maybe sometimes also tell her that, you know what, Mommy has now like her little, you know, shining armor lying in bed with her, and we're always there for you, and you can come for a sleepover whenever you want. But now this is like your space to create. This is like your little kingdom to play. That's why you have your own space. You're so lucky. I miss that. And it's how you talk to your children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Get animated.
Yes.
Get in it.
I tell my son, I'm 35. I have been a child with you for so long. Dare you be 35 and be serious with me later in life? And when I found the inner child inside of me, it was called Nerf. And so when my son would want to play with me or would want to talk to me in a certain way, and I replied as Mom, he was able to call out and say, I'm not talking to Mom. I want Nerf. And I immediately would know, right, okay, yeah, I'm cooking, I'm busy, yeah, I'm being Mom. Right, What does Nerf do? Nerf gives you attention. Nerf will leave the food on the stove and run out in the garden and come back.
Okay.
So it's about parents going into an alternate personality to be with their children.
Beautiful. Shaz, what time is up? Just like that. I know. Just like that. Just like that. Thank you so much for coming through. Social media handles, and please send in all your questions this way because I see them, but our time is...
You can reach me on @BeingRealNow on Instagram. We can chat. Send me any DM questions you have. Twitter at @BankShazman. I just signed up.
Did?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
At BankShazman.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not at Being Real Now anymore?
No. I just started Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just learned yesterday you have to hashtag.
Okay.
And it came from there, from Twitter. I just learned that. But you can reach me. Always here for you.
We're going to go on a very short commercial break as I get this information. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.